Please, can you explain what the City of Sanctuary scheme is and what its role as an organisation is?
Of course. So it's a national movement and it started in 2005 in Sheffield. It is about groups and cities across the UK coming together in order to promote and safeguard a culture of welcoming and hospitality. So around the UK, I think we've got around 100 different groups which work together with other NGOs and local charities in order to make sure that asylum seekers and refugees who live in those cities feel welcomed and embedded in the life within those cities.
What specifically is going on with regards to the City of Sanctuary in the North-East?
So in the North-East we have different cities of sanctuary, such as Sunderland, Durham, Newcastle, and what they do is some of them do service provision. So for example in Durham, which is the City of Sanctuary I'm mostly involved in, we have drop-in sessions. So every Saturday all our Syrian families can access, we have English conversation languages. Newcastle have fantastic schemes where they work in partnership, for example, with Tyneside Cinema. So there is a £1 ticket which allows access to some of those individuals. Again, there are drop-in sessions in collaboration with the Red Cross. So it's again about making sure that when individuals arrive here, they have some first, point of contact into engaging with people from the local communities, accessing cultural or health-related activities, so giving them support, because obviously some people come with a Syrian resettlement scheme, but other people are asylum seekers. So until they get the refugee status, they have nothing apart from relying, on kind of community groups and charities.
So do you think refugees in Newcastle can ever fully integrate, Newcastle in the North-East, fully integrate into society, or do you think there'll always be barriers like you can't afford the transport, we can't afford the training session?
I guess that's a tough one, and I think I know examples through my social cycle with friends, but also people who have interviewed who they do manage, to become fully integrated, as we would say, in terms of getting a job, having their own accommodation, their own car. So that is a kind of, like a very good success story, but obviously it's not the same for everyone. I think if you can acquire a good level of English and then have a network, but also be able to get a job, that is the first step. And we are seeing that, with all the Syrian families that have arrived now since 2015, we yet need to see how they will become integrated in terms of, because it's not just about having obviously safe accommodation, but there needs to be, I guess, a difference between surviving the everyday kind of, yes, I have a house, I have food, and actually being able to resume your life and continue to develop, have some transition. So be able to continue your studies, be able to get a job, have that complete self-worth which they had before they came here.
Yeah. How difficult is it for asylum seekers rather than refugees, say, to integrate in the sense that they aren't allowed to work while their applications being processed?
It's a great point, and I think interestingly that's what I've kind of come across through my research, that the process of everyday belonging is completely different from asylum seekers to refugees, because when you are a refugee you don't have the temporality and the kind of the continuous uncertainty. Will I get accepted? What will happen? Will I be deported? Whereas when you are an asylum seeker, obviously, you're still not legally recognised, which I think that is an obstacle on its own.
Yeah.
People have a completely different response to someone who's a refugee, because it's kind of, you've been accepted. And I know that might sound quite cynical, but it is true.
No,
People
yeah.
have a different response, and even nationality comes into play in terms of how we understand some asylum seekers or some refugees as authentic or not.
Yeah.
But obviously, work is, it impacts integration and sense of belonging in terms of you feel stuck, so you are in limbo, legally speaking, but also in an everyday. People, can't plan. You can't go to places because you need to stay in the area where you've been dispersed where you need to sign once per month. So there is this whole surveillance where, yes, you are free because you're not being persecuted. At the same time, you're in a different kind of monitoring process where everything is being monitored, and many people feel like there isn't enough space for them to fight back the system or challenge the system, so they're just waiting, and some people might get a response within 6 months, but for others it could be 10 years, and 10 years is a very long time to not be working, to only be going to, obviously, volunteering. Volunteering is something that many individuals do because I think it just gives them expertise and experience of working within the UK, and also the sense of community. But as we grow older, we also want to be financially independent, and £36 per week is a very small amount in order to go by.
Does the City of Sanctuary have a more long-term vision to support the refugees, or is it more just a...
I think it's both. So as you said, it is about welcoming that initial, this is where you can go, this is what is happening, so these are the organisations that you can go and get support with your legal documents, or you can go and get utensils for your house. But I think the idea is that this is something which is continuous and you invest and build in. So it's not just a one-off, it's more about ensuring this, as I said, this culture of welcome and hospitality. And then gradually it's also about engaging those people into the decision making. So many cities of sanctuaries have people. In Durham we have on our trustee board, we actually have 3 refugees, and we'd love to have more, because we want to make sure that their needs, their interests are embedded and also are reflected in the services and the projects we do. And we have events which are fantastic, such as Sanctuary in Parliament. So every year there is this event where refugee and asylum seekers, speakers, that's the background, are invited to speak in front of MPs. So again, it's another way of trying to invest and promote their cultural citizenship and the kind of democratic participation in that way.